Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My constituents sent me here and with one of the top priorities is to invest in our infrastructure. And Illinois is home to one of the busiest airports in the world, depending on time of day and how many aircraft happen to be on the ground. You know, TSA's counterterrorism mission is and must always remain your highest priority. And I know that of all the witnesses today, all of the witnesses today share a common goal of putting systems in place to make sure our nation's airports can thoroughly and efficiently screen travelers, even on the very busiest of days. But last spring, passengers at O'Hare and at Midway Airport were subject to excessively long wait times at TSA checkpoints. In May, checkpoints delays were so bad, O'Hare was forced to advise travelers to arrive 3 hours prior to departure. People were spending 2 and 3 hours in the TSA line trying to get through security. However, Administrator Neffinger was able to act quickly by redirecting resources, collaborating with the private sector, and coordinating across agencies to address delays and prevent a major national catastrophe. Wonderful reaction, got it done. Ms. Pinkerton, in addition to the current federal hiring freeze, I'm deeply concerned that the current administration has yet to nominate a new TSA administrator. If tomorrow we face the same long lines at any one of our major airports that we faced last spring, would we right now be capable of addressing the problem without the ability to quickly hire additional screeners?
Thank you for the question, Senator. In my oral testimony, I talked about exactly this, what happened last summer. And the question that I posed back was, is TSA ready today for the summer surge? And do they have a plan and adequate resources to address what we know will be increased traffic in the summer? Yes, we need a TSA administrator as soon as possible. I commended Administrator Neffinger for his leadership and the way it was a silver lining on top of what was really a meltdown last year. I do believe he put in place some lasting processes, the Incident Command Center, this daily conversation that goes on at the local level and in Washington between airports, airlines, and TSA, looking at the staffing at each airport, seeing if we need to reallocate resources. I think that's still the question on the table that you need to ask TSA. What is the plan for this summer, and do you have the staff and the resources needed to meet the demand?
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, I introduced a bill last year in the House that would address some of TSA's chronic staffing shortages, and one of the things that we've been briefed on our security in our aviation system and access for passengers is actually the fact that TSA overly relies on part-time workers with high turnover who don't maintain the skill levels that they need to, and you're constantly training new people as opposed to having someone who's there full-time, has been there full-time, and has gained the knowledge that's important. That's why my TSA Workforce Flexibility Act, you know, it would have lifted that arbitrary cap that Congress places on the number of full-time transportation security officers that TSA can employ in any given year. Look, you know, I served in the administration at one point. I understand how one-size-fit-all congressional mandates don't always work when they get out into the agencies. So if the appropriators tell an agency head you can only hire 45,000 additional people, no agency head is going to turn around and request 50,000 because it's been clear what Congress has said. You can only have 45,000, even though 50,000 is what you need in order to maintain security. This question is for all members of the panel. Would you concur that we should provide TSA with workforce flexibility that guarantees the agency can deploy personnel based on mission needs rather than mission needs related to evolving security threats and fluctuating travel volumes, and not meeting an arbitrary, inflexible staffing ceiling?
I will just add this. I believe that in the CR, and again, addressed this in my oral testimony, did provide some flexibility to TSA, both budget reprogramming flexibility and also staffing flexibility in between part-time and full-time employees. So I think that flexibility, but the question is what happens when the CR ends at the end of April? And so we're urging that that flexibility be maintained.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.